Hey everybody, welcome back to the Planes, Trains, and Comic Books channel. My name's Matt, and today we're going to review Booster Gold, The Big Fall. And before we get into that, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff, it really helps the channel out, and it lets me know what you guys really like. So on that note, let's get into this thing. So you guys might not know who Booster Gold is. He's like an 80s superhero created by Dan Jurgens and Mike DiCarlo. It was originally like a pitch after I believe it's after the Crisis event. So we would get like some fun new characters for like the age after Crisis, basically, is the idea. And Booster Gold is supposed to be like an all 80s encompassing character, basically. He is all about commercialism, and that leads to a bunch of humor and whatnot. He is actually from the future, from the year 2162, and his real name is Michael Carter. And so what the book is about, this like intro book, it's actually 12 issues long. It's like the first 12 issues of his 24-issue arc from the 80s. At first, you don't really know who he is. You just know he's a hero. He's saving people in the nowadays and whatnot. But then we get a little history on him in the middle of the book. And what he was is, his name, like I said, his name was Michael Carter. He was a college football star, like a professional quarterback. And it turned out he was kind of like Pete Rose or something, where he was betting on games. And so he got like disgraced, and that like ruined his career. He had like, everybody loved him. He had all the fans and everything. He was going to make it big and be rich and famous. And that all went away when they found out that he was betting on himself and betting on games with his team. And so they don't say he actually cheated or anything. They just say he was betting on his team. He ends up having to become a security guard at a museum. And the museum is the Museum of Superman. So it's actually a museum that has all the stuff about Superman and the superheroes that we know from 80s DC. So it's got all the memorabilia and actual things that were used by the superheroes and supervillains. Basically, he gets an idea as he's walking around this museum. He sees Rip Hunter's time machine, and he's like, I could go back in time with that and become a superhero kind of thing, where since I know events that are going to happen, that's what he could do. So he gets an idea. He takes Superboy's Legion ring, which lets him fly. He takes one of Luthor's exoskeletons, or exosuits or whatever, that like makes him powerful. He takes Brainiac's force field, and he also has a robot named Skeets that knows a lot of the history, of everything that happened back in the day. So he could just kind of ask Skeets, hey, what's that? And Skeets will be like, oh, that's this. And also Skeets can reference like, hey, Michael, no one wore that back in the day, back in the 80s. So you got to take that off. Or, no one knows who that person you're referencing is, because that was after 1986 or whatever. So he like Skeets adds a lot of banter to this. He's like his little flying robot, basically. Anyway, he takes those things and he goes back in time, because what he knows is that the president, who is actually Ronald Reagan in the book, is going to be assassinated in 1985. So he's like, oh man, all I got to do is take all these things, become a superhero, establish myself, then I can, save the president, and then I'll have all the fame I wanted when I was a football star. But now it's taken away from me, so now I can just do this, and it's like my easy way to fame kind of thing. So he does that. He goes back in time, and because of that, it leads to some fun things. Like because he's so commercial and everything, all he cares about is endorsements. He's got a manager, like he's got an agent who's always trying to sell him to movies, commercials, any kind of endorsements. At one point he gets endorsed by like Chrysler, and they give him like a booster mobile kind of thing. He's got his own production company called Gold Star Productions. So like he's just all over the place, just trying to make a buck the best way he can. He's a one of a kind character, and that's what thing that makes him fun. You see, there is like a heart in him after a while. It's not just about making money, but he does want to be a hero, and that was kind of like the idea of him being a hero in football was taken from him because he cheated. Or he didn't, I don't know if he cheated, but he definitely bet on himself and broke the rules. So he's able to kind of regain that heroism by eventually stepping into the shoes of being a real hero. Some of the things that happens, he stumbles into the storyline of the president being assassinated. So he knows what's going to happen in like the events that lead up to it, but he doesn't know who the people who are going to assassinate the president are necessarily. They're just like some group of terrorists. So he actually is trying to find them out, who they are. It leads to some more political intrigue, and there's some behind the scenes things going on with other politicians that are maybe planning this or depending on this terrorist group doing this, and that way they can get more power in politics. But everybody's got like a fake face on because they're all trying to get either something from Booster Gold or Booster Gold's trying to get something from them. So like, the senator will come in and be like, "Oh, Booster, you should, go on my campaign trail with me." But it turns out that senator's actually, working for the bad guy or or he's one of the people trying to get the president assassinated, kind of thing. So there's just all this like politics and funny stuff about commercialism in the background of this comic. Like I said, it makes it very unique and gives it like a very unique feel. There's not really any other character like this, and it also sets up like just fun ideas. Like if he came back in time and like he's already an adult, then like the IRS is always sending him like, "Hey, how come you haven't filed taxes?" And like, "How much money are you making with your company?" and all this stuff. So he's always got like an ongoing kind of like funny feud with the IRS because they're like, "You haven't paid taxes on any of the stuff, and also you came out of nowhere, and then you don't have like a social security number and stuff." And so there's all these things like that. Also, another funny thing is Superman hates him. Superman is not a fan of Booster Gold's cockiness or commercialism. So he's like, a hero should be a hero for hero's sake, to do good and to save people, not to get endorsements and showboat kind of thing. And Booster Gold's like, "Why can't we do both?" Like, what's wrong with doing both? And so that leads to them clashing heads in a couple issues, which is pretty fun. And the funny thing is, Superman can't really do anything about it because not only is Booster Gold not doing anything illegal, but Booster Gold knows who Superman is, like his secret identity, because in the future, everybody knows who Superman was because it's the Superman museum that he worked at. So all of those details are known about Superman. So he's like, "Hey, Clark, you want to keep it on down low or else I'll tell your secret to everybody." He's like basically blackmailing Superman to at least put on a show that he's like okay with working with Booster Gold. So that's just like a fun stuff about this book that you wouldn't get with any other character. This first book, like I said, it's the first 12 issues of a 24 issue run. At first it's all about kind of fame and fortune, but then he ends up really wanting to do good and be a hero. He's trying to earn the respect of people like Superman, but also get money. So like he's torn between those two things, and it's fun to see them play out like what he goes for and how he tries to win Superman over, but how Superman resents it. And then like, him saying, "Well, do I take these endorsements? Maybe I'm starting to feel slimy about him," kind of thing. So he's a really fun character, and just this run in general is definitely a run I think everybody should read and check out. He's a character that's one of my favorites. He had a really fun run with in the Justice League after this, where he was in Justice League International, and that's like a really comedically based Justice League where Guy Gardner's the Green Lantern and Batman's the head of it, and Blue Beetle's in it with him, and that's kind of where they meet and have like their first team ups and stuff. So there's a lot of fun with this character that I think goes a little unnoticed maybe, and people like him, but he's more of a C character than I think he should be. He seems like a character that should always have a book going that's kind of comedic to offset the dark Batman books or the seriousness of other DC books. You might have seen that right now there's a Booster Gold and Blue Beetle comic coming out called Blue and Gold, which I reviewed last week. That is also a blast. So it felt a lot like this. It's also written by Dan Jurgens, so he definitely knows how to write his own character, and it seemed like he was having fun writing it as well, because Booster Gold specifically, you would think the 80s commercialism really fits that era, but it fits nowadays even more so, where we have influencers and sponsorships from like Instagram and all that kind of stuff. So Booster Gold will be all over all that social media trying to get his name out, trying to get likes, trying to get fans. So this is more his era, and they're trying to really play that up, kind of thing. But as far as the big fall goes, I would give this volume a 3.5 out of 5. It is a really solid, really fun book. It is an 80s comic, so it has that like 80s read to it, like there's a little bit more dialogue on the page or reading on the page than you have nowadays. So keep that in mind. But it is a blast. It's a fun read. Booster Gold is a fantastic character, and this is his introduction to DC. This first hardcover of 12 issues is $39.99, so it's not crazy out of price or anything. And like I said, it's a nice hardcover, and it has like the original pitch idea, the original sketch designs in it, which is fun to read. You know how Dan Jurgens pitched it to DC. So I think it's a great book, and everybody should check it out. Especially if you just want like a different kind of superhero. If you're sick of your Supermans and Batmans, or they're not living up to how you think they should be, check out this 80s run of Booster Gold. It is a lot of fun. It's totally different than anything else you're going to read. It is definitely a recommend, and I haven't read the second volume of this, but I'll probably do a review of that as well. And then while you're at it, check out Blue and Gold #1 as well. That's a series going on right now with Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. On that note, we will see you guys on the next one.